I moved into this neighborhood for one reason. Peace. You know that feeling when you finally buy a house? Not just a place to sleep, but something you worked for? That was this house. A big driveway, a workshop-style garage, a little view of the woods in the back. No HOA headaches. No nosy neighbors. Nothing. Or so I thought. See, I wasn't told about the HOA right away. I only learned about it after moving in, when a small white envelope showed up taped to my door 1 week after closing. Inside, a cheap brochure that basically said, "Welcome. Please follow HOA guidelines." I didn't think much of it. I figured a few landscaping rules, trash days, whatever. I'd seen worse. But on page 3, in tiny print, was one line I should have read harder. Certain shared utilities, facilities, and storage spaces are considered HOA governed. Storage spaces. Yeah. I missed that detail. Fast forward about 2 weeks. I come home from grocery shopping, hit the remote, and my garage door lifts halfway, then immediately stops. Something's blocking the track. I step inside and there it is. A big, shiny white SUV with giant green letters. HOA across the doors. Parked so perfectly like it lived there. I froze. My first thought was, maybe an emergency? Someone broke down? Did someone mistake my house for maintenance? It didn't make sense. So I waited for someone to show up. Nobody did. 2 hours later, still nothing, and the SUV just sat there like it owned the place. I left a note on the door, polite as possible, asking whoever it belonged to please move it by morning. Next morning, still there. Day 2, still there. Finally, day 3, I was in my garage cleaning tools, when a woman I'd never seen before showed up wearing a polo shirt and holding a clipboard like some government inspector. She walked straight past me like I didn't exist and tapped on the HOA SUV window like she was late for her own appointment. I walked over and introduced myself with a smile and a, "Hey there. Excuse me." She barely made eye contact. "Oh, that's my HOA vehicle. Just finishing some routine inspection paperwork." Routine inspection? Of what? My wrenches? I explained nicely that this is my garage. Private property. She waved her hand and actually said, "Well, technically, this garage is community space. Shared under HOA use." I thought she was joking. Shared? I own this house. I bought it. I pay the mortgage. What community is living in my garage? So I asked her politely, "Show me the paperwork." She smirked and said, "Oh, sweetheart, HOA rules override personal misunderstanding." Personal misunderstanding? That's when I realized this isn't ignorance. This is entitlement made into a personality trait. I asked for her name. She refused. But she didn't need to tell me. I already knew exactly what she was. A textbook HOA Karen. She left like SHE owned my house, and from that day forward, things escalated slowly. And then suddenly, for weeks, she came and went like she was clocking into work. Sometimes daytime, sometimes late at night. Sometimes she didn't even park all the way inside. She'd leave the car halfway in the driveway and walk into my garage like she was searching for something. But every time I confronted her, she had a new excuse. HOA security check, storage compliance review, unauthorized modifications inspection, unauthorized modifications. It was a lawnmower and a set of screwdrivers. But then, the real violation happened. One night around 11 p.m., I noticed a flickering light inside the garage. I slowly opened my side door, and there she was, going through my storage cabinets with a flashlight, like she'd lost something, like she belonged there. She literally jumped when she realized I was watching. "Oh, just checking for code violations." At 11 at night? I told her she needed to leave. She backed up slowly like she was afraid I was the problem and hurried into her SUV. She didn't even close the garage door. That night, I stayed awake listening to every creak like she might come back. A few days later, after work, I opened my garage, and my toolbox drawers were open. Wrenches missing. Keys moved. Boxes open. That's when the fear turned into anger. Not because of what she took, but because she believed she had a right to do it. I documented everything. Photos, times, security camera logs, phone calls unanswered. Then came the last straw. A thunderstorm rolled through one night, and she left the garage door open again. Rain pouring inside. My tools soaked. Water flooded under my truck. That night I decided Karen wasn't parking here by accident. She was trying to access my property. And something told me she wasn't doing it alone. The next morning I bought heavy-duty industrial locks, the kind commercial shops use. Steel bolts. Reinforced brackets. I upgraded my keypad and removed the old remote frequency. Only one code worked now, mine. That night, around 2:30 a.m., I woke up to the sound of someone hitting buttons on the keypad. 5 attempts. Pause. 5 more. I watched from my kitchen window, adrenaline shaking through me, and when I saw her frustration, the furious body language, the clenched fists, I knew I'd cut off more than access. I cut off her control. The next morning, she called screaming through the phone. "You don't have the right to block HOA property. This is a serious violation." I calmly replied, "It's my property, and if you enter again, I'll treat it like burglary." She yelled something unintelligible and hung up. Later that afternoon, a second HOA member knocked on my door, a man I'd never seen before. He introduced himself as the HOA vice president and quietly apologized for the misunderstanding. He claimed they were just storing the vehicle temporarily. But I asked him point blank, "Why is she entering at night?" He swallowed hard and said, "She takes things too seriously." And then he said something that changed everything. "Just don't involve the sheriff. Trust me, please." Trust him? Why would an HOA VP beg me not to call law enforcement? Unless Karen wasn't acting alone. Unless someone else was benefiting from her little inspections. That's when I decided, if they want a surprise, they're getting two. And the best part? They bark. After that late-night keypad incident, I knew Karen wasn't giving up. Because people like her don't back off when challenged, they come back harder. She wasn't parking anymore. Now she was hunting for something. So I made one simple phone call. To my buddy James, professional Rottweiler trainer. The guy raises actual working dogs, big, intelligent, trained protectors, not backyard pets. I told him what was happening. He laughed for a full minute. "So, you're telling me Karen decided she owns your garage?" I told him yes. His response, "You need the twins." The twins. 2 massive, black fur, amber-eyed Rottweilers trained for personal protection. Silent when they need to be. Loud when they want to be. James brought them the next day with a small bag of food and a single rule. Never open the garage without saying their names first. I swear, they understood everything happening from the second they walked inside. They paced the garage like soldiers inspecting a battlefield. Every corner, every shelf, every door. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. It didn't take long. For nights later, 3:12 a.m., keypad beeps again. This time louder. Buttons pressed harder. Then, click. Someone manually lifted the emergency release. Karen had figured out the latch. The garage door slowly creaked upward. Just enough for a body to slip under. And she did. I watched from the kitchen window as her little flashlight beam danced around my tools. Like she was searching for buried treasure. And then, 2 deep rumbling growls shook the walls. Karen froze, turned, and saw 2 massive shadows moving toward her. She lifted the flashlight, hand shaking, and saw 2 sets of glowing amber eyes staring straight into her soul. She screamed like horror movie level screaming, jumped inside her SUV, slammed the door, sobbing, and repeatedly honked the horn for help like someone was chasing her with a chainsaw. The dogs didn't even need to attack. They just stood there, guarding their space, like they knew this was what they were born for. Next morning, 1 handwritten letter taped to my door. "Your animals assaulted an HOA officer, and I will be reporting this violation formally." Violations? Assault? At 3 a.m.? I took the letter straight to the HOA office, ready for a confrontation. But instead of Karen behind the counter, I found the HOA president, sleeping on a fold-up cot inside the office. He looked exhausted, like he'd been living there. He saw the letter and sighed. Oh God, not again. Not again. How many times had this happened? He pulled me outside and confessed. Karen abuses her authority. She files reports, makes up rules, threatens homeowners. We've tried to control her, but she scares people. Scares people. Think about that. A homeowner association official scares the neighborhood. He begged me, please don't report this. If police get involved, she might try something worse. That's when it hit me, Karen wasn't just bossy. She wasn't just entitled. She was unstable. Within a week, word spread. People knocked on my door with their own horror stories. Karen checking their backyards. Karen photographing windows. Karen walking up porches at night claiming inspection. Turns out, everyone was terrified of her. But nobody dared stop her. Until now. Someone started a neighborhood group chat called Karen Watch. And suddenly, Karen wasn't in charge of anything anymore. She was being watched. By everyone. Then came the day. HOA meeting. Crowded room. People whispering. Executives nervous. Karen walked in with her clipboard, but nobody moved. Nobody smiled. Nobody greeted her. She tried speaking, but the HOA president cut her off. And right there, in front of every homeowner, he served her an official removal document. Effective immediately. Her title? Gone. Her authority? Gone. Her access? Banned. And the reason cited? Unauthorized entry into private property. My garage. Karen moved away eventually. Rumor says she tried joining another HOA somewhere else. But around here, she became a warning story parents tell when someone starts acting entitled. The dogs? Oh man, legend status. People would walk by and shout, there go the real HOA leaders. James still laughs about it. And me? I kept every piece of footage, every message, every recording. Not because I want revenge, but because Karen taught me something terrifying. Sometimes the biggest threat to your home is someone who believes they own what you worked for. But you know what Karen never understood? You can be born entitled, but you only become powerful if people let you. And I stopped letting her the moment I locked that door.